convenient, quality, low cost. For us, you can get a starter set for $15. You get a razor, moisturizing shave cream, and 3 razor blades. And they'll give you guys $5 off your first order with promo code DEADCAST. But if you go to harrys.com and enter code DEADCAST at checkout.
And ladies, I got to tell you, it's a great razor. I just used it. I went to Hawaii.
You only shave when you go to Hawaii. And then
no, especially in the winter.
Okay. And our next sponsor, you guys are going to like this one. It's a new sponsor. They're called Double Take. It combines 2 things I love: zombies and comic books.
What?
This guy, Bill Jemas, he's a man who revitalized Marvel Comics in the early 2000s and got me back into reading comics after a long hiatus because comics got really shitty in the 90s. And now he started this new imprint at Take Two, which does great video games, but it's called the Double Take Universe. It's a series of 10 comics that all take place in the world of the Night of the Living Dead.
Oh.
So they're writing all these really in-depth stories about different areas of Evans County in 1968 at the dawn of the outbreak. One is the sheriff who says, yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up. He's the star of one of them.
That's great.
Barbara and Johnny are the star of another one because Johnny actually survived.
Coming to get you.
Yeah.
Barbara.
There's like one that has all these teenagers at a lake. So it's really cool. It's interesting. They're going to build a whole universe about this.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So as a listener of this podcast, you can read all 10 first and second issues of these for free at doubletakeuniverse.com. Or if you like physical comics, you can binge read by picking up the first and second issue super packs of all 10 titles at your local comic shop or Barnes & Noble stores or gohastings.com or midtowncomics.com. They're about $20 for those, and the issue 3s are going to be out on February 24th, so you can get in on the ground floor of this brand new universe. And if you do check those out, let us know what you think. And the next announcement is that we have a special guest with us today. It's my friend Jessica. Hi, Jessica.
Hello.
Hey, Jessica.
So Jessica, I met at New Media Expo a couple of years ago. She saw me go up and accept the podcast award. Remember when we won that?
Yes.
So long ago. And so then she started listening, and then we got in contact because she has a business. What's your business?
My business.
You have
is
a couple
Interview
businesses.
Yes, Interview Connections, and I mostly. Yeah, we started talking a little bit about what I do, but I was mostly a fangirl of the podcast and of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, you're a big Walking Dead fan already, right?
Yeah, I was a huge Walking Dead fan. I don't remember actually like seeing you accept an award on stage. I just remember hearing about your podcast, and then I just started listening to it. And then we met at Podcast Movement in 2014. So yeah, and I've been this has been a long time coming. I'm really excited to be on the show today.
Because we said a while ago that I was going to have you on, and there have been a few times I've been interviewed on other podcasts that I've told you guys about, and that's all because of Jessica. Thanks, Jessica.
All because of me.
So it's a big episode today. We're talking about the big mid-season premiere. We've got news and feedback as usual, and I'm going to do a quick review of this new game called Firewatch that I played recently. I'll tell you why once we get to it, but if you already know about that game, just stay tuned to the end and you'll hear a quick review of that. And I'm sure Grace and Mr. Blog will have a lot of comic talk too. But let's get into the Deadcast Top 5.
Attention shoppers, Deadcast Top 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Actually, it's going to be the Deadcast Top 3 this week because I figure if we have 3 people on, we should do a top 3 because there's 3 of us. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
So it's the top 3 highlights for season 6, episode 9, No Way Out. And just before we get into the list, generally, what did you think of it, Jessica?
I loved every second of it.
I thought you might.
I loved it. I did. I loved it. It was amazing. And I'm pretty easy to please with this show. I'm either like hate the episode or I love it, but I loved this episode.
I notice on Facebook, I hope you don't mind my saying, but you seem to like it when there's like people are kind of ruthless.
Yes. I do. Yeah. No, I like it when people are ruthless and there's action. I mean, that's what the show is
There's
about.
a lot of action.
This was all
Yep.
probably one of the most, if not the most, just steady action episodes, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I actually get really bored when there's a lot of like, for example, in this episode when Enid and Glenn were having like this chat in the church, a part of me was like, can we just talk about this later? Because there's a lot going on outside.
I know.
Wow.
And they tried to trick us into thinking that there was still action going on by having the driving music. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, no, you're speechifying right here.
It was too fluffy.
Yeah. Karen, what about you?
I loved it.
You did?
Also.
Yeah,
I did.
okay.
I was
I'm glad to
worried.
hear that. Yeah.
I was worried going into it because last season things weren't left so nice.
No.
I was really, really worried. I think I even joked about that with you about how many just going to keep losing people I love. I didn't really lose people I love. So
Nice.
that in my book, that's a win. So maybe some of the people I love lost parts of their body that they love, like an eye, but otherwise it was great. So there you are.
So the only thing you lost that you loved was Carl's eye, and you hate Jesse. That's what we got from that.
And Sam
Just-
and Ron.
Okay. All right. Well, I wasn't in a great mood last night when I watched
Valentine's Day?
It wasn't because of Valentine's Day. It was just because I'm really stressed out with all the stuff I'm doing right now. Walker Stalker, podcasting, work, family. I mean, I love all that stuff, but it's just too much.
Watch, chew,
So-
podcast, repeat.
I'm going to have to cut something out, and I think it's going to be the family. No, I'm just kidding.
Friends?
Like,
But-
you can't cut out The Walking Dead.
Yeah, no, what? I wouldn't even dream of that. So it's just going to be Walker
you
Stalker
people-
and
you people-
podcasting from here on out. Sorry. No. God, I'm horrible. But anyways, my point is that I was sort of being cynical about it
Yeah.
and feeling nitpicky. And then I got to the end with the scene with the Rick.
Yeah.
And that just got me,
Yeah.
my heart opened
Yeah.
up, and I'm like,
Aw.
oh, that was a nice ending. And then when I watched it again today, what happens a lot is
Yeah.
I liked it a lot more.
On
I
second
still
watch.
I still have some nitpicks, but I give it, say 4.2.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's starting to feel a bit like, I read online this phrase, but misery porn sometimes.
Misery porn, yeah.
Because I want, if I'm really in the scene and something bad happens like that, then it feels like an artistic expression. But if I'm not buying it and then people die, it feels like gratuitous,
Right.
and repetitive,
Right.
So I was starting to feel that a little bit.
It's funny that you should say that because I asked David what he thought, and he said, Walking Dead, it's still good, but it's starting to get a bit repetitive.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling last night a little bit.
I hear that.
But then the way that it ended, and I'll go into it more, it had me feel like, well, maybe this is kind of the capper and the show's going in a new direction now.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I hope
But anyways, let's get into our list.
All right, let's do
Jessica,
it.
why don't you go first?
Okay. Well, my number 3 or number 1, whichever we start with, is Denise. And everything about Denise in this episode, I absolutely loved. I know that you guys have talked about how amazing her acting is.
Dr. Denise.
Yes, she was
Yeah.
good in this.
I mean,
I love
when her and the wolf were in that little basement entryway, I don't know, it's not a terrace. I couldn't think of the word of it, but she's so terrified. And sometimes when you're really nervous, you shiver and you act cold, but it's
Yeah.
not cold. And
She
that's
was
kind of how she
shaking.
was acting. Like she was shaking. She seemed really cold, but it was the summertime.
Right.
And then I loved that as a doctor, she really owned that role, doctors, their number one job is to keep people alive, regardless of how you feel about them.
Yep.
And that's really how she was with the wolf. She's like, you could tell that she didn't have an opinion of whether he should be alive. She thought, I'm a doctor and I need to keep you alive. I loved when she was saving Carl and Michonne's like, I got to get that out there. And she's just like, give me a second.
Yeah.
Like,
She
just
said,
brought
this is
it.
his son. Give me a second. And
Yeah.
I've been in that
Yeah.
situation where I'm really nervous, but whatever I'm doing is important, like life or death. Like when I used to ride a motorcycle, and I would have a close call, but you can't flip out.
No.
You have to
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
composed, And so I'm like, I felt kind of I think like she did. This is his son. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I watched this. So I watched the episode a second time today. I don't usually do that, but I watched it again today, obviously to prepare for this call. And I caught something about Denise that I didn't catch the first time. So when they are running across that street to get to the ladder and climb over the fence, they, there's that walker right by the ladder, and then they stop, and then one runs into her and she just goes, shit. Her reaction, because I feel like the characters are either really badass and they just slice through their head and they get really brave, or they freeze and get eaten alive, and she's just like, oh shit, like
she's really turned the corner. Yeah, she was afraid to help people, but now she's taken on the role of the doctor. Although I have to say, I was a little skeptical that when Wolf Guy got bit, that she wouldn't just go, ha, sucker, after he recently, his friends brutally killed a bunch of her friends. I mean, the way you're putting it, that she's a doctor and that's her oath, kind of makes sense, but still, it's a bit hard for me to swallow that she would be so sympathetic towards this guy who brutally killed her friends.
There's a lot in this episode that is, I think we can probably file under the Department of the Suspension of Disbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought that too?
I agree.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was nice and all, but
I thought in a very short amount of time, the wolf made a very big transition.
Yes.
And I don't know if it was fake or not, but I thought it was interesting when they were sitting there together. He's like, you like me. It kind of reminded me of, when two people are really annoyed by each other, but like, oh, you like me. And I don't know if that was fake or not, just to get her to help him. I guess we'll never know.
No, we won't ever know, thanks to Carol.
Way to go, Carol.
Yeah. Thanks for making it so we never know if he really did change. I think he did.
Yeah, I think he did too.
I think he did too. I think it was genuine.
And I think actually this whole episode, speaking of change, I think this whole episode was all about how people can change and not just turn into zombies, but really like have a change for the better. I mean, the wolf dude was exhibit A for sure. And also I also thought Father Gabriel, he stepped up. That's Eugene true, yeah. Eugene totally stepped up. He had that wonderful line, no one gets to clock out today. Yes. And which is great. And he's out there fighting the good fight. And then even Enid didn't run. Enid goes to help save Maggie and helps Glenn. So a lot of people changed for the better in this episode.
Carl's changed. He only has one eye now.
He only has one eye. Yes. See, people can change.
And the Alexandrians that came out of their house when they saw, they were looking out from their top window. Yep. And then they made that moment. They're like, you know what? We gotta man up. We gotta woman up and get out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonder if Morgan changed. I don't think so.
No.
No, he still apologized after killing a walker.
Yeah. I don't even think he killed him. He's like, I'm sorry, I got to do this. And then he like bopped him on the nose.
I'm going to slow you down.
So violent. Okay. My number 3 is that what I think, well, it's not what I love the most, but pretty close, is that I feared for people's lives more than usual this episode. I just had a feeling that a lot of people could die, and there were a few situations, like the very beginning where the guy from the motorcycle group was deciding whether to kill Abraham, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you, and then he's all, no, I'm not gonna kill you, and then he's like, you know what, maybe I am. And right in that moment I'm like, well shit, he can't go back from it there, that'd be really stupid. I'm gonna kill you. No, well, yes I am. Well, no, not. Well, okay. So I knew he was either gonna shoot or there was gonna be some Deus Ex Machina, which was awesome. Yes. I mean, you can't do that ever again, but the rocket launcher, great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And and I love the way they did that, just building up the suspense.
Nibble on that, bitches.
Then there was Glenn when he was being backed up at the gate at the wall.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And then there was a second Deus Ex Machina there. Is that okay that there's 2 in one episode?
He gets a lot of chances, that guy.
I mean, not only that, but there was the rocket launcher, and then Abraham and Sasha show up with the machine guns
at just the right moment, and they must be great shots because they get all the zombies and they don't hurt Glenn because he's Teflon covered.
I was gonna say, how do they get all those zombies and not even nick Glenn whatsoever? Like, Department of Suspension of Disbelief.
It sounds like like a Naked Gun thing where you're just mowing down a bunch of guys and they all drop except for the
one you want.
cops.
Oh, thanks. It's Special gun.
But I was afraid for him for a second, which is awesome. And
Yes.
even Maggie, I was afraid for her. I was afraid for Sam and Jesse.
Yes.
Rightly so. One thing about that, Rick chopped off Jesse's hand. Did you notice that?
I did notice that.
And-
She was handsy.
And I'm sure, yeah, it's like, get away. That Grace and Mr. Blog will talk about this. But in the comic, I was waiting for this scene because in the comic, I thought it was more impactful because the way they did it was the kid got grabbed by all the zombies and she held on to the kid and then they started to get her. But you could still see her face and she was looking over at Rick and going and holding on to Carl and saying, don't leave us. Don't leave us. She kept saying that. And then Rick's all hack, hack, hack. So it seemed a little more, I don't know, like, oh my God, he can't. But he didn't really have a choice. I mean, she was already bitten anyways.
Yeah.
But in this one, it would look more like a involuntary response, like clutching response or something.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Was it because she was, dead and they couldn't, peel her dead hand off, or was she really not letting go and she had a choice to? I couldn't tell.
I don't know for sure, but it seemed like it was like an autonomic response, like she didn't have a choice. But who knows?
So after he chopped off her hand, did her hand keep holding onto him?
Yeah, for the rest of the episode, he was sitting by Carl and it was just hanging off.
I can't get this thing off.
Fell on the ground. It'll rot off eventually. But Carl, I did not think Carl would die. But when you saw his eye?
I thought they killed him off.
You thought he was dead,
yeah,
right?
I thought that adorable.
Were you like, oh my God?
Yeah, I was freaking out. But then he carried him, and I thought, would he carry him if he was bit? I don't know. I don't know if he would. And then later I thought, oh, they're going to save him.
I'm going to show you the scene in the comic where he got shot.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go grab it. I'll be right back. I'll edit this out, but hold on.
This is podcast gold, my friend. do, 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 do.
Okay. This is what you see in the comic.
Oh!
It's like half his head is gone. And
his ear.
And he survived that. Like,
did he?
Charlie Adlard went a little bit far with this.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
Yes.
He signed
Charlie
it right
Adler.
here, I think.
Ah, yeah.
Maybe Kirkman signed
nice.
it. Anyways,
dang, that's a giant portion of his entire head.
Yeah, I thought he was dead, and then a month later,
there he is.
He's there.
Yeah, when Carl turned around and his eye was like that, I thought that was like a nightmare. Like Rick was just seeing that because he was so frozen at Jesse being eaten, and then he just kind of like goes into this daze and he turns around and see Carl. I thought maybe he was just imagining that happen.
Right. You know,
were you kind of hoping that, or?
Well, I mean, I was kind of hoping that Carl was shot in the face.
You were hoping he was?
No, I was hoping he wasn't. So I was hoping it was just a dream. And then I'm like, how in the world do you get your eye shot out and then not die? Like, did it just skim the eyeball and then like pluck it out?
I think that online they said something about it grazing off his bone or something.
They did. Greg Nicotero on The Talking Dead last night just said that it hit his ocular rim and it shattered it and sent fragments into his eyeball, but that but it didn't. It went in at such an angle.
Okay,
that's how. I was wondering that too. I'm like, how does it destroy his eye and then it doesn't go into his brain? But it's just at such a crazy angle.
Do you remember in Atlanta when we asked Chandler Riggs if he wanted to play Carl without an eye? Remember that?
I do.
And what he said?
What did he say?
He said, heck yeah, that'd be awesome. Little did we know that he was
already doing that. He's such a cute young man. He's tiny too. He's really skinny, tiny young man. He's adorable. By the way, the name of that issue is No Way Out. That's the name of the episode.
Yep.
Oh.
They do that a lot.
Do they? Mm-hmm. I did not know that.
After the comic. All right, number 2.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
Okay, the whole first scene was my number 2. So we talked about this a little bit, but there was such a good balance of suspense and comedy. Like the way they used the music when the guy was like, I'm going to kill you, and the music comes up and then it stops. Mm-hmm. And I was laughing so hard when he goes, you seem like reasonable people. You're sporting dress blues, for Christ's sake. it just made Abraham look so silly. Everyone's in their like earth tone ratty clothes, like that's the fashion of this world, and then Abraham comes in these these dress blues. This is hysterical. And then of course Daryl to the rescue with the freaking rocket launcher. That's just Daryl's new role. Come out to the rescue with this epic battle.
Chew on that. No, he said nibble on that.
Nibble on that.
Yeah, that's great.
That guy blew it, by the way. He said, our usual modus operandi is we kill one person and then we talk. And he should have done that.
He probably should have. It was a strategic error.
Probably would have.
And also, Daryl goes back to the back of the truck with one of them.
Stealth kills the guy.
And stealth kills him and somehow grabs a rocket launcher and fires it just in the nick of time. Yeah, again, disbelief.
Yeah, it was interesting because he said, he's like, he put up a fight because he kind of stabbed Daryl in the back a little bit.
He was tougher than I thought or something like that.
How did that happen with no
no
hear it all? It was all silent. He's like, that guy put up a fight very quietly.
You heard Daryl cough a couple times to cover up the sound of the fighting.
Oh.
He was like,
really?
Nope.
Oh, really?
Stab. He just had to kill a guy. That's intense.
Yeah.
And all he had to say about it was tougher than he looks.
Yep. Those guys are jerks. Deserved it. Yeah, I love the intro too. I completely agree with you.
It was so weird how at the end of the, the mid-season finale, it made it seem like these were going to be these, big new characters, and they were gone in 5 minutes of this first episode.
I also thought that the leader of that gang, I thought that was Negan.
Yeah, I thought he looked like someone that talks in the third person.
They're just part of the same group that those people that Daryl met earlier were part of, and talking about their boss and how he's a bad guy and everything, and that's Negan. So these are just foot soldiers.
Yeah, but they're motorcycle soldiers.
Okay, right.
All right, number two.
My
number two, since we talked about the first couple minutes, I'm going to talk about the last couple minutes, because the last couple minutes of this episode were wonderful, and it's why I loved it so much. I loved it a lot because the first couple, and also because the last few. And starting with the zombie killing montage. Mm-hmm. So right after the shots of the Zeds walking into the pool of fire, which was a great shot, there's a quick cut montage of each Alexandrian fighting the zombies, what I'm talking about? And the music
got faster and faster.
It was so
and the music
great.
was like Rocky or something.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Just uplifting and intense.
Yes. I stood up. I was watching it and I stood up and I was like, ah! And it was great because they centered each person in the shot and they just went bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Carol, Aaron, Michonne, etc. until finally
stylistically cool.
Oh, so cool. And they finally landed
and they were
on Rick.
all using, machetes or knives. There weren't guns in that too, which was cool.
Right, exactly. And finally they land on Rick and then it fades to black and then they fade up and it's the next morning and it's smoky. And then you see the people on the porch. You see Judith and Michonne, which is beautiful and lovely. A nice little callback to when Michonne was sort of afraid to hold Judith, and then Rick with Carl, and he gives the really amazing speech about everybody working together and it's all possible. I get that now. And it was a weirdly hopeful message for this show. The show doesn't do a lot of hopeful messages, and this one was. And I loved it. I thought it was just beautiful and just right.
Good. Yeah, I was thinking you might like that when I was watching it. I did too. Really did.
Yep.
Okay, my turn. So this episode, I've been talking over the last few episodes about there's this transformation of Alexandria happening, and this is like the completion of at least phase 1 of that, I think. So instead of running away like they did at Herschel's farm and the prison when zombies converged, this time in Alexandria they stood their ground and fought the zombies off.
Yep.
So it's not that's something cool that they're getting away from that kind of repetition, right?
Yeah.
They've twice been driven out, but this time when they would have normally run, they just went into a berserker rage and fought everybody off. They're through running. And when Rick first got to Alexandria, they were all sheltered and weak, but in episode 5, when they were all going to eat all the rations because they lost hope, but Spencer talked him out of it, they decided not to give up. And I said at that point, that was them sort of realizing that maybe they can take care of themselves. And then in episode 8, Deanna told Rick, hey, all these people are your people too, not just, remember he was sort of not caring about the ones that he thought were weak. So it's slowly been changing from a bunch of weak people that Rick doesn't care about to this episode where they kind of self-actualized, where Rick went out into his berserker rage and was just rah, getting, and then Michonne could not hold herself back from going out and helping him. And then little by little, other people went out and got inspired. They were sort of galvanized by what he was doing. And people were looking out, like Eric and Olivia and Eugene. And then Carol said, I'm going out now. And so finally they were all getting in on it, and they just transformed. That was like a rite of passage for all of them. And they successfully rid their town of zombies to the sound of Rocky-like music. And I feel like they kind of leveled up. They're more experienced zombie killers now. And as you just talked about, Rick has this new outlook because he said, now that I see what people are capable of, I see that everything that Deanna was talking about is possible.
Right. Anything is possible. I see that now.
Did anyone else, well, maybe not you guys because you really liked that last scene, but did anyone else think when I was watching Rick say that, I'm like, did you have to see the whole town get overrun by zombies to believe in these people? Like, come on, Rick.
I think when I saw that whole scene, I think even he surprised himself. And it reminds me of when I'm trying to learn something and you kind of plateau at a certain level for a while, like snowboarding. I've fallen on my ass for the first 3 days and I can't turn left. I can only turn right, And then I'm going along, and one day all of a sudden I just keep trying and failing. And then all of a sudden I can turn right. I'm like, oh, it is possible to turn right.
Yeah.
And so it's like that. Like they're like, we don't even need, like this episode opened up with Rick saying, we got to go get the cars because guns aren't going to be enough. I don't know what they were going to do, run the zombies over. I don't know. But then by the end, they don't even need guns. They're just like, we can do this. So I think the whole point was he realized we can actually really handle ourselves among large groups of zombies, which means that we can do more than we thought possible, I guess. But I actually want to play that speech that you really liked, because I liked it too. And it made me, like I said, I was in a bad mood. And then it was so emotional that it just made me feel like more open and good. So here it is. Nice. Here it is again.
When I was out there with them, when it was over, when I knew we had this place again, I had this feeling. It took me a while to remember what it was, because I haven't felt it since before I woke up in that hospital bed. I want to show you the new world, Carl. I want to make it a reality for you. Please. Carl. Let me show you.
That's it.
Oh, that's nice. And then
it
Carl
makes
grabs
sense.
his
Like
hand.
when Carl got shot and Rick was looking at him and just dazed, and he just saw Jesse and Sam die, I was like thinking, whose fault is this? Is this Rick's fault somehow with his plans and stuff? I guess it's more the wolves. But then I was just thinking, man, it's just hard to survive in this world. And at what point will you just give up and go, fuck it? But he didn't give up, and now he's at this new place. But it's all, it's about Carl and Judith. That's what keeps him going, I think.
Funny though that he just saw this gal Jessie, who he liked a lot. He just saw her die, and now he's at a couple minutes later, he's at his most hopeful.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is just a couple of minutes later. And
Well, they went through something though, but
yeah, they fought hard. True. And he saw the Alexandrians, progress and get better. And now he sees that it's all possible. But still, I don't know.
See, personally, I would not file that under suspension of disbelief for some reason, because I know how, I don't know, events like that can change your outlook. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, he just lost.
I mean, they weren't that close. They were just kind of starting up.
It was like a what could have been type of feeling.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I almost thought that I had found somebody after Lori.
But they really didn't know each other all that well yet. But she was pretty cute.
It was cute.
I'm going to talk to her in London.
Cute.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Now I know what you can ask her.
Is she English too? There's a lot of British actors on this show.
There are.
Nope. She's not.
You can make her put on a British accent.
I'll ask her, can you please do this interview in a British accent since we're in London?
Everyone should do that. Yes,
all right.
please.
Yeah, whose turn is it? Jessica.
Yes. So number one. My number one was Gabriel empowering the Alexandrians in his church to take action. So he had this really inspiring speech because they're all, sitting there praying and really scared. And he just has this kind of epiphany where he says, yes, I don't have the exact words, but he's talking about, you're praying, but praying is, you can't just sit there and pray. You actually have to take action. And he says, when you pray, God is giving you the courage to take action. And when I watched the episode the second time, this reminded me of after the San Bernardino, California shootings, there was a lot of controversy in the news about politicians and public figures. And there's people online just saying, oh, my heart goes out to the victims. And then there's people that are saying, no, we need to take action on gun violence. Like there's kind of two sides of this issue. And I thought this line was very interesting in that he kind of drew this connection of you can pray, but what is the praying doing? It's making you take action. It's giving you the courage to take action. So no, praying isn't going to solve the problem, but there's this next step you have to take after you say that prayer. You've got to take that courage that your God is giving you. So I thought that was really powerful and just drew really directly to some current events right now.
Good point.
And I thought he, in some part of me, I was like, do I really believe he's been a coward the whole time that we've seen him, and suddenly he's courageous? But on the other hand, it just felt like there was something in the air that night with everybody. They're like, all right, this enough is enough with Eugene, and they're like, they're out there fighting. We're gonna go join him. So I liked that too. I mean, I'm not religious, but I appreciated it. He said, yeah, God is giving me the courage to fight, and I thought that was pretty inspiring.
It was. I agree. All right, my number one is, and I know we talked about it before, Michonne and Denise in the infirmary assisting with Carl's injury. Something about, I'm not much of a crier, and I certainly don't cry when I'm supposed to, but there's something about this scene and about Michonne's reaction. She's so loyal, and she loves Carl and she loves Rick, and she's such a loyal friend that she says, and she's such a good actress, Denai Guerrero, when she says he needs my help, and Denise is like, okay, one more suture, and then she says he's out there, and Denise is like, it's okay, this is his son, give me a second. And then when she says, okay, got it, Michonne kisses Carl, and so sweet, and then runs out to help her Rick. And there's something about that friendship. I mean, I'm not much of a Michonne Rick shipper at all.
You're not? Why not?
I'm not. I think that there's such a thing as true love and true friendship between people, and I think that's what they've got. I think they've got a lot of friendship and a lot of love there, and they're like a little family, and it was beautiful, and it just choked me up. I watched it a couple of times. I don't know why it makes me cry, but it does.
What if she would have kissed him on the forehead, ran out, and then ran back in and said, I forgot my sword?
That would have ruined the moment. So.
That's more like what happens in real life.
Where did I put my katana?
Darn it.
She always knows where her katana is.
All right. Well, maybe I shouldn't have saved this one for last, but this is my complaint, my things that took me out of it.
All right. Let's hear it.
If it weren't for these, I think it would have been much more of a winner for me, although I did like it a lot. But just some little stylistic and character things. So for one thing, it didn't start where it left off.
No, it didn't.
I felt, with Sam going,
True.
Mom. I felt like Kathy Bates in Misery, when she captured that writer and she's like, "You cock-a-doodie cheater." I felt like that's not how it ended. That's not how it went. Because we've been talking about it too. No big deal, I guess, but just a little thing that felt off. And then like with character, like Rick Gabriel's like, "I'll take Judith." Fuck no, you're not going to give your baby to that dude.
No.
He's not proven himself at all. You didn't even want him to have a prayer circle an hour ago or whatever that was. So give it to Carl.
Yeah.
He's trusted Carl with lots of things before like this.
Yes.
I did not buy that at all.
I didn't either.
The wolf dude, I'm happy he turned just because that's the moral lesson I want this show to teach, that Morgan is right and Carol's wrong. But on the other hand, really
kind of quick.
Just a few minutes ago, he was so confident about how he's a killer, and all of a sudden he's like, "Wait, I just went back to save you. Why did I do that? I could have gotten away. Maybe I am different." I totally did not buy that at all. And then Carol shoots him and he's still like tackling zombies.
Yes.
He turned from the most selfish to the most selfless person in the world in the split, in a split second.
In that moment when they were approaching the ladder and the fence, there weren't like that many walkers right there. Like she could have just pushed that one out of the way and just charged forward. She was just like, "Oh shit." And then it was this big thing, but they weren't like overrun in that moment. So I think that they did do that to make a point that he had changed, because I think they could have gotten out of that pretty easily.
The walker mechanics are tough to get right on this show because they're really bumbling and stupid threats.
And also in that whole battle, nobody died. Not one. I'm sorry, zombies died, but nobody died in that battle.
I was okay with that. I mean, I guess it would, because they wanted to make the point that look what we can do when we put our minds to it. But I mean, yeah. But then I thought, when they were walking along and Sam gets upset, which I found very sad as usual. I feel so sympathetic for that kid.
All Carol's fault.
But then he wasn't being any louder than anybody else.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's like 5 zombies appear on his shoulder.
Yes.
And it looked weird. And then Jessie is not being any louder, and then they all converge on her, and Rick is standing what looks like about 3 inches away going, no, and they don't converge on him. No. It just seemed odd, like weird staging. Maggie, they had something about Enid needed to go help her down because she was hurt or something, and then she didn't seem hurt to me.
No.
That moment when Maggie pulled Enid up, she was like, "Oh, come on, let's go look at Glenn again." That was kind of an awkward, like, it looked like they were just out of character, like, "Oh, let me just get you up here."
And she was supposed to be going up there to help her, but because she was hurt. And
also the scaffolding that she was on was rocking. And she could have just sort of gone over to where Enid was on the fence.
It was very firm, right?
They didn't need Enid. Like, she didn't need Enid. No. And then what was really funny, so we see them wandering around in the daytime and they change their plan, and then there's a commercial or whatever, then it's night.
And it's
like, he's been wandering around for like 2 hours.
It gets night there real fast.
Yeah, it's like boom. And then
just the thing about like, how big is Alexandria? Because I mean, I thought that
40 miles across.
It's like they're like all the way to the, in a day where they're not overrun by zombies, like, oh, let me just skip over to the quarry in 2 seconds, and then when their zombies are overrunning, it's like 30-mile walk in Paris.
So it was harder for me to be moved by the moving parts when I kept getting like, what's going on with that? What's up with that? Why? No.
Yeah, wait. Yeah. So, you have to just let it wash over you.
Okay. A few notes that they had some interesting techniques in the beginning. They had that kind of pulsing cuts that go along with the music as Daryl and them were driving down the road. Then, as you mentioned, they had all the quick cuts at the end and then they had like little flashes of Jessie as she was being eaten in nicer moments.
And
so
then
little
it turned red
stylistic
after
things.
she was bit. Did you notice that?
Oh, no.
That was super interesting when she was, I think it was when, I can't remember the exact transition, but the first few flashbacks of Jessie were in full color, like stunning color. And then after she was getting bit, they were all in red.
Ooh, gotta watch it again.
Yeah, it was cool.
And the lake of fire I thought was beautiful.
Yeah,
looking.
it was.
And then even though when I was a zombie and I saw a huge fire, namely Herschel's barn, I went away from it, as we all did. We didn't walk into it. I didn't feel compelled at all to walk into the fire. And neither did any of the other zombies. Just saying. Even though it felt a little bit like speechifying, I really appreciated Glenn naming past characters.
Yes.
Yeah, that was nice.
Still a part of you. My parents, a man named Dale, Maggie's father Herschel, a guy named Shane. No, he didn't say that.
No, he did not say that.
Where was T-Dog?
Where was T-Dog?
A director named Frank Darabont. Glenn Mazzara, all lost to us. What else? I guess that's good enough. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Even though this episode in some ways felt a little bit repetitive, it felt like it was pushing things off in at least a slightly new direction.
I have a guess. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Negan's not going to be happy. Whoever this Negan guy is, he's not going to be happy. So hopefully he can't tie them.
Can't wait.
Hopefully he can't tie them to the rocket launch.
I was kind of wondering because they made it. I think he's not going to appear until the last episode because the casting news didn't seem to come out until it seemed like they were almost done filming the season. So that's what I think. But I was wondering, maybe they just skillfully held back that news and that he actually has been filming and he's going to show up anytime. But I don't know.
Well,
anything else?
Did you see any, and maybe you did, Jessica, The Talking Dead?
I watched a few minutes of it. I don't usually watch it because I usually go to bed like right after the show. But I watched a few minutes of it last night, and Carrie Underwood was too tan for me to take too much.
Oh, good Lord. Yes, she was very, very tan. But
she's
also
very talented and very beautiful. But I didn't usually watch that show. So.
Super tan, and clearly she's a fan, so she knew her stuff. I thought she did a really good job. Anyway, I thought one of the things that I thought was great was they had the guy on who plays the wolf, and his teeth.
He's Australian, right?
He is, and man, I didn't think he was a good-looking guy as a wolf, but as
I know. Same thing. I'm like, he is pretty handsome.
Yes.
And then I thought as soon as he was on, I said to my husband, I'm like, I wonder if his teeth are messed up. And I just had to watch it until he smiled.
And then you look at him, he's like, no, his teeth are beautiful. I was so awful. But they also had a little visit with the kid who plays Sam, Major Dodson. Is that his name?
Yeah.
He's so cute. He was wearing sweet little glasses. And he said, I really liked working with the woman who plays Carol. He said, I really liked working with her. Fun fact, we both like to go antiquing. He actually said that. He said, fun fact, we both like to go antiquing. Is that so cute or what? Oh my God.
All those kids are
adorable.
Precocious.
They are. We like to go antiquing.
Yeah, speaking of Sam, he kind of got freaked out. I mean, not only having the flashbacks of what Carol was saying, but he saw a kid walker. Do you think we know who that kid is, or